So we mentioned talking about how you were in Tenfold and you're on Bridge Nine's first two releases, the Tenfold split with Some Old Fears. Yep. And then the Now Is Our Time 7 inch, which fun fact, I don't think I heard that 7 inch before I got the vinyl or the test press.
You just knew it was good.
I think, yeah, I just like this has got to be good. Well, I remember it. So like you guys, you Tenfold broke up
Yeah.
on stage. I was in the audience, did not know this was happening. No one did.
Well, we knew we were going to break up going to the show.
Yeah, I'd heard after the fact
Yeah.
that it was a like kind of a last minute, just spontaneous thing.
Those guys had already moved to Boston.
Well, they were in my eyes at that point, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so they were doing other things and playing, practicing, whatever. It was just too much because they were.
Well, they're in Boston in their new life.
Yeah.
They moved on.
Yeah. So we just figured it was a show with the tune in, was with our friends, and all of our friends were there. Let's just go out on a high note. No, not that anyone really liked the band anyways, but just go out knowing it was going to be a cool thing, and we were happy with it. And we've never done anything ever since,
That's true.
and we never will.
Never will. All right. Heard it here first. But I mean, you had already recorded, I think there was like a 4-song demo that like became the Now Is Our Time 7 inch. But I remember, or maybe it wasn't a demo, but you had recorded 4 songs, including a Judge cover.
Yeah.
Um, After like before you broke up, and I remember wanting to press it on 7 inch because I think I had sold through at least half of the splits at that point. um, and I didn't want those songs to not be like permanently. I felt like a demo, while demos are cool or cassettes are cool.
I forgot that this came out posthumously.
Yeah, it did. It
I
came
totally
out
forgot
came
that.
out like months after.
Okay.
And I think we only pressed 300 copies originally
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it was, the band was broken up. It was like we didn't need a lot, but I wanted it to be on vinyl. So I remember we pressed like 100 on clear, 200 on like translucent blue,
Yeah.
and those sold super quick. So we ended up pressing 500 more on black and just did like a second press. So I think there's only, that's one of the more limited Bridge 9 releases. There's only like 800 of them that exist.
Huge demand.
Yeah,
Huge
but
demand.
it was a cool, all of you guys went on to cool things. Whether you starting Right Brigade, a couple of years later,
Not cool.
not cool. Well, it was a lot of people beg to differ. It was. In fact, I would argue that Right Brigade helped inspire and influence a whole lot of stuff that came afterwards, for better or for worse. But I think for better for a lot of things. I mean, I'd even argue that American Nightmare wouldn't have sounded the same without Right Brigade existing in 1998. Um, but we were talking about the discography and Bridge Nine's discography and your contributions, and I think I was doing the math. You're on at least 6 of our first 10 releases, um, between the two Tenfold releases, um, the Right Brigade Poor Excuse split, which was just a super cool split for me to do at the time. I mean, Mike McCarthy was one of the most outrageous frontmen, and I love that band.
The best.
Yeah, just being able to do that. I mean, that record came out. It was what, like February of 2000. I think
No,
did
it
it
was before that.
99.
99, I think.
Well, I remember we had copies that had
Because
photo.
we broke up in like summer of 2000.
Yeah, you weren't a band much longer,
Yeah.
but I remember we had early versions of the 7 inch at the American Nightmare shows, and those were in February of 2000. So we probably finished the records in 99,
Okay.
or like got them like ready and ordered them in 99, but
Okay.
I don't know if we actually had them because we had that. You know what? I think the first show that had them was the Cro-Mag show in Worcester, and that I think was in
Yes.
January or February of 2000, if I had to
No.
remember.
It would chronologically, we did the demo in summer of 98, the split 7 inch somewhere in early 99 question mark, and then the 7 inch on Stillborn later in 99, because there were pictures on the stillborn 7-inch from the Youth of Today show, we did summer of '99. And that obviously came out after the split 7-inch with Poor Excuse.
Was that Youth of Today show the one that had the tables that we use as launch
Yes,
ramps?
we did. We did. That was fun. So there was, I don't know how many people, a couple hundred, 600 people were there, 700 people.
At the Youth of Today show?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
So we opened that show, and for some reason, that fucking loser from Good Clean Fun took the microphone and tried introing us. And I remember taking the mic like from him and said to the crowd, "Who thinks this guy's a piece of shit?" And people started clapping because Good Clean Fun sucks and they were never funny. But we played. The show was awesome. But when Youth of Today played, everybody was on stage, and our whole friend group decided to take these 10-foot tables, knock out the bottom legs,
kick one set of legs out,
and then just set them up as ramps. So we would just set them up behind everybody who's just trying to enjoy the show. And you have like 6 idiots running off these ramps and just head walking over all the poor people in the back of the show.
Yeah.
Because that was you, me, Andy, J. Bill, Noah, and Robbie Red Cheeks kept running over going, "What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?" He was so pissed off. And then we would just do it on the other side of the place.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that was.
I remember just
fun.
like pushing this table, like it was like a launch trip, like right to the back, like the last person, just pushing up against something.
They would look around like, "What are you doing?" And then just boom,
running from the back of the room and just diving into the crowd.
But that was very on brand.
Yeah.
But back to the split 7-inch. Chronologically, that was the second of 4 Right Brigade releases, because it was the demo in summer of '98. The split 7-inch was somewhere in '99. Because I also think that we had other copies of it at the what was that fest in Wilkes-Barre? Posse Numbers.
Oh, Posse Numbers.
Because I know we had covers at that, and that was somewhere like April of '99. We also brought a 6-foot sub to that show. So we had a van.
I vaguely remember that.
Stopped at this deli that Craig Mack and I used to work at. Got a 6-foot sandwich on a 6-foot board. There were only, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us in the van.
Yeah, how do you put it in the van? Was it just down the center?
Right down the middle, and we started cutting it and eating it on the way to the show because it was, I don't know, 2 hours or so from where we picked up the sandwich. And then got to the show and just kept giving out pieces of because a 6-foot sub is way big. Like a $5 footlong from Subway is one thing, but a 6-foot sub, this thing is also like 6 inches wide,
dense and wide.
Yeah, so it was a lot of sandwich, and we just kept giving it out to people, and people were like, "Why do these assholes have a fucking 6-foot sub?" Might have been 8 feet, but it was long. But how many record covers did we have? We must have done
There
like
was,
2
I think
or 3 different
there was
covers.
3. Yeah, and the last one literally just had the name of the printer, just said "fuck you," like across the front of it, because it was one of those things where it took months and months, and I had the vinyl and we had shows coming up and wanted to just get it out, so we just kind of like made fake covers or limited edition covers.
But the actual cover came out awesome.
Yeah.
And on the back of it is that photo of Mike doing the flip at the First and Second Church at that Trouble show with Anti-Flag and
I think Unseen,
which is, in my opinion, that's one
of iconic photo,
best hardcore photos ever taken. But I first met Mike right after I moved to Boston. Like Mike was like an integral part of like the whole Boston skinhead and punk rock scene, and we totally hit it off really, really well. He was just starting a Poor Excuse, and he had the Right Brigade demo and really liked it, and we just totally vibed and said, "Why don't we just do a split 7-inch together?" Because at the time, the whole punk rock and skinhead scene was its own world, and the hardcore scene was its own world in Boston, and
not just Boston. I mean, I remember
everywhere. Yeah.
I remember going to a show at the Tune-In, and there was like a punk matinee and a hardcore show that night, or vice versa. And like one side of the street was like all kids in camo shorts and New Balance sneakers, and then the other side had Liberty spikes and green hair.
And it's such a cool thing that that doesn't even really exist anymore. There's no real separation of that. But we like to think that that record kind of helped break down those walls, because you had people that liked Right Brigade, you had people that kind of liked Poor Excuse, and they both kind of liked each other. And I became friends with all the dudes that were in Poor Excuse. Um, it was just, I don't know, it was just such a perfect time and place, and the whole environment everywhere was, it just felt like the right thing.
Well, that's the
And
best part about split 7 inches, being able to pair like 2 bands, even from 2 different worlds, and put them together, even if they're from the same world. It's
yeah,
just different sides of the street.
yeah,
You
because like
know?
everybody liked the same sort of music, and everybody, yeah, there's no difference between Right Brigade and Poor Excuse. It's all the same stuff. It's all from the same world. But for whatever reason, the fans of those style of bands were coming from their own different worlds. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just in our own weird way, I think that helped break down a little bit of the walls between all of that. Not that we ever really crossed over, not that we really played a lot. Um,
Well, in
but
the words of my father-in-law, it's all 3-chord scream
yeah, oh,
music.
absolutely. Sometimes four.
Yeah.